Hi friends, welcome back to Parnika tutorials. In this video, I want to discuss how to create a form in HTML. So I sincerely request everyone to watch the complete video for better understanding. Form is a HTML element to collect input data with containing interactive controls. Certain applications need a data from the user. Let's take that you are booking a particular item from the Flipkart. Then you need to enter your shipping address and you need to enter your credit card or debit card details, or you need to click on the what you called online banking. Once you click on the online banking, it will go to your particular bank, and then you need to enter your username and password, and then you need to enter the login button. Then a OTP will come, you need to enter the OTP details, then only you can finish your transaction. So in all these things, user has to enter some data. Based on the data, the website will take a certain action. So if you want to do those things, we can do with the help of form tag. Let me discuss with a simple example. You can see the Facebook. This is the Facebook home page. Now you can see, if I want to log into my account, I need to enter email address or phone number in this text box. Similarly, if I need to enter my password, I need to enter my password in this text box. Once I enter the email address, password, if I want to log in, I need to click on this login button. Similarly, if I forgotten my password, I need to click on this one to reset my password. Similarly, if I want to create a new account, I need to click on this button called create new account. So all these are the elements. One is the text, another one is the password, another one is a button. All these things we can create using the form in HTML. So all these things we will discuss practically. So a form is a HTML element to collect input data with containing interactive controls. It provides facilities to input text, number, values, email, password, and control fields such as checkbox, radio buttons, submit buttons, etc. So the form element allows us to input the text, or it can be a number, or it can be an email address, or a password, or you can select the checkbox, radio buttons, and even you can click on the submit buttons. All these things can be provided with the help of the form. As I said earlier, this form is useful whenever a user wants to buy a particular item in online. So he or she has to first enter their shipping address. In the address form, then you need to add the payment details. In the payment form, you can place an order. In all these things, user has to enter the details, right? These details user has to provide it with the particular field. If you want to create a form, we have to use the form tag. Using the form tag, we can create an HTML form for user input. So if you want to collect the input from the user, we need to create a form. To create a form, we have a tag called form tag. We have various form elements like input, text box, checkbox, radio button, email, password, date, text area. All these things are there. In all these cases, if you want to read the input from the form, we need to use a tag called input tag. The input tag is used to get input data from the form in various types, such as either text, password, email, by changing its type. Now let me discuss this concept practically for better understanding. I will go to the desktop, HTML programs. You can see various HTML programs are there, like first.html, frames.html, headings.html, images.html. All these are various HTML programs to illustrate the frames concept, list concept, paragraph concept, table concept, text formatting concept. All these videos I have already uploaded in Parnika Tutorials YouTube channel in HTML playlist. If you did not watch those videos, I request you to go back and watch those videos. Now let me create the new text document and keep the name as forms, and the extension should be either HTML or HTM. Then it will ask, are you sure you want to change it? Yes, I want to change it. Now let me right click on this one, open with Notepad++. Now I will write doc type HTML, and then I will open the HTML tag and I will close the HTML tag. In the HTML tag we have two main tags. One is the head tag and the body tag. The head tag consists of title, metadata, etc. Now let me use the title tag and I will write forms example, and I will close the title tag. And then we have the body tag. The body tag consists of the information which you need to display on the web page. Now our form tag should be there in the body tag because the form also should be displayed on the web page, right? So if anything should be displayed on the web page, that information should be there in the body tag. Now you should have the form open tag and the form closing tag. The form tag consists of three attributes: action, method, and target. The action attribute specifies whenever you are submitting this form, the data should go somewhere, right? To web server, to which web server you need to send this data. That web server URL you need to provide here. So I can say it consists of the server URL. And then method consists of two values. Either it can consist of get or post. What is the meaning of this get or post? Now, what way you want to send the data? If you are using the get as a value for the method, whatever the data you are sending from this form to the server, the data will go in the URL itself. Now look at here. Suppose let's say that I'm entering the mail address and the password. If I click on this login, if I use the method as get, the email address and the password will go with this URL. If I'm sending the data using this URL, anyone can observe it, right? And they will come to know my Facebook email address and password. So it is not secure. Whereas if you use the post value in the method, then the values whatever you are sending will be hidden. So either you can use the get method or the post method. Whereas the target attribute consists of underscore self or underscore blank. What is the meaning of underscore self? Let's consider that I am writing the email address and password. Once I click on the login, then the Facebook home page will open in this same tab, right? If it is so, I need to use the target attribute value as underscore self. If it needs to open in another tab, then I need to provide it as underscore blank. So target attribute takes two values. What are the two values? It can take either the underscore self or underscore blank. The underscore self specifies that once you click on the submit button, the next web page should be open in the same tab. Whereas if you provide the underscore blank, then it will open in the another tab. So let me provide it as underscore self. Now let me create one text box in this form. If you want to create one text box, we used to use input tag, and in the input tag we have the type attribute. In the type attribute we need to provide the value as text. Let me do it practically for you. So I need to use the input tag. In the input tag we have the type attribute. For the type attribute I need to provide it as text. Once you provided it, user can enter a single line text input. So let me provide the backslash and end it. Okay, now let me save this one. Let me right click on this, open with Firefox. Now you can see one text box has been created here, but before that there is no text or anything is there, right? So to do that one, what I will do, I will go to the forms.html and here I will use some heading tag, registration, and let me close the heading tag h1, and then I will write username, then input type is equal to text, and then I can use the name as text box and value is equal to enter username. Then you can observe how it looks. Whatever the value you have provided here in the text, that will be considered as a default value or initial value. Let me save this one. Let me go to browser and let me refresh it. Now you can see registration, username, and you can observe that initial value or the default value here is enter username. Now if you want to enter something, let me enter Jagadish. Then it is now getting the value as Jagadish 123. Now if you want to restrict how many characters it should take, that you can do with the help of a attribute called max length. Let me do that one. You have an attribute called max length. If I provide the max length as 7, then what will happen, you can observe. Let me go to the browser and let me refresh it, enter username, and now let me enter some data, Jagadish. See, even I'm trying to enter my name as Jagadish, as the 7 characters has already inserted, it is not allow me to insert another character. Okay, whether it is a alphabets or anything, only 7 characters only I can enter. So that is what the max length attribute specifies. To observe, here we have the password, which is also one text box, right? But what is the difference between the text box and a password? Whatever you are entering in the text box should be visible, but whatever you are entering in the password should not be visible, right? But if I consider this a password as also a text one, then whatever I am entering will be displayed. Let me show it practically for you. Let me use the break tag so that it will give some space for you, and then I will write input type is equal to text. Okay, before that I will provide it as password, and name. For each element you should have a name which is useful to identify the form element uniquely. So this is a text, right? So for that one I'm giving the name as text box. For this one I will give it as a password or something. Some name should be given to uniquely identify the form element. Okay, and then I will close this one. And let me save this one and go to the browser and let me refresh it. Now you can see password has been written. If I'm entering some password, JACKS Ravi something, now you can see the content is visible for us. If you don't want to show the whatever the data you are entering in the password, then in place of the type as text, you need to provide as password. Now let me save it. And now let me go to the browser and let me refresh it. Now if I am entering the username as Jagadish, okay, as the max length is 7, so I'm entering as JAGA, okay, and then password, if I'm entering something, now can you able to see whatever I'm entering? No. So this is the beauty of the password when you providing the type as password. So whatever the content you are entering in this text box will not be visible to the user. Now let me discuss how can we create the radio buttons. To create a radio buttons, we need to use the type as a radio to provide user to choose a limited number of choice. Suppose let's take that I want to give an option called gender. In the gender, I want to give the three inputs, whether it is a male or female or other. The person, whoever is entering his gender, either he can enter the male or a female or other. He need to click on the radio button. So if I want to do such radio buttons, or if I want to create such radio buttons, in the input tag I need to provide the type as radio. So I will write here gender. Okay, before that I will use the break statement so that it will provide the space for us, and then I will write the gender, and I will provide input type is equal to a radio, and I will provide the name as gender, and then I will provide it as male. And similarly, I want to create another radio button for female. So I will write type is equal to radio, and then I will not provide the name first. What is the use of the name? You will understand. Okay, let me close this one, and then let me provide it as female. And similarly, I will provide another input type is equal to radio, and then I will close it, and I will write here as other. Now let me save this one and go to the browser, and let me refresh it. Now you can see gender came. Okay, either you can click on the male or female or other, but now you can see a gender can be either a male or a female or a other, but now all these three radio buttons have been selected. But if you want to select any one, right, the purpose of the radio button is among these multiple radio buttons, user has to select any one of them. And then only we will use the radio button. But if you observe here, all these three radio buttons have been selected. Now how can we modify this program such a way that it will accept or select only one radio button? Is you need to group them. So how can you group all these radio buttons? Is you need to provide the name, and the name for all these radio buttons should be same. So here I will write name is equal to something gender. So I'm grouping all these radio buttons with the help of the name, and the name is gender. Now let me save this one, and let me go to the browser, and let me refresh it. Now you can see either I can select the male or I can select the female. See, once I'm selecting the female, the male one is unselected. Similarly, if I'm clicking on the other, the female is being unselected. So this is the way you can create the radio buttons. But let's take that here the username having the default value as enter username, right? Similarly, I want to have the default value for any one of this radio button. To do that one, we can use an attribute called checked. How to do that one? Let me discuss it. Suppose let's take that for the gender, I want to give the default value as male. Then for the male, I need to use the attribute as checked, and the value also I need to provide it as checked. Let me save this one, and let me go to the browser, and let me refresh it. Now you can see automatically the male has been selected. If I am selecting on the female, then male will be unselected. Again, let me refresh it. Automatically the male has been taken as a default value. If you want the default value as a female, for the female one, you need to provide the checked attribute, and the value also should be provided as checked. And then here you need to remove that value. Okay, now let me save this one, go to the browser, and let me refresh it. Now you can see now the default value has been considered as a female. So like this we can create the radio buttons. Now let me create one checkbox. To create a checkbox, we need to use the type as checkbox. Here, whenever we are creating the text box, we have provided the type as text. Similarly, whenever we are creating a password, we are providing the type as password. Whenever we are creating a radio buttons, we are providing the type as radio. Similarly, whenever we want to create a checkbox, we need to provide the type as check. It is a square box and uses to choose more than one option at a time. Let's consider that hobbies. I have all the hobbies listed. If I want to select more than one hobby, then I can use a checkbox. So I will write here hobbies. Before that, I will provide the break tag, and then I will write hobbies, and let me provide it as input type is equal to checkbox, and then I will close it, and then I will write as swimming. Similarly, input type is equal to checkbox, and let me close this one. Cricket, playing cricket, let me write properly, playing cricket. Okay, input type is equal to checkbox, and let me close this tag. Watching movies. Okay, for some people other hobbies also will be there, like browsing, talking with the friends. Okay, let me write it as browsing. Okay, so these are the various checkboxes I have created. Now let me save this one, and let me go to the browser, and let me refresh it. Now you can see hobbies: swimming, playing cricket, watching movies, browsing. Now I can click multiple options here. Maybe some people like swimming, playing cricket, watching movies, browsing. So if you want to select more than one option at a time, then we can use the checkbox. So now you can see they are in the square box. And similarly, if I want to identify this element uniquely, then I need to provide the name. So let me provide it as hobbies. Okay, name as hobbies to uniquely identify. Let me copy this one and paste it everywhere. Now let me save this one, and let me go to the browser and refresh it. Now if you want all of them with separate lines, then you can use the break tag here. After this one, I will provide the break tag. Let me provide one break tag and see how it will looks. Let me save this one, go to the browser, and let me refresh it. Now you can see the hobbies: swimming came, then playing cricket, and let me provide the break here also. Let me save it, and let me refresh it. Now you can see swimming, playing cricket, watching movies, browsing, all these are came. So these are the checkbox. Similarly, if you want to enter your date of birth, then we have a type called date. The date type is useful for you to enter the date. Let me create that one. I will write a br tag to provide the space, and then I will write date of birth. Okay, and then I will write input type is equal to date. Okay, let me save this one, and let me go to the browser, and let me refresh it. Now you can see date of birth. The format is DD, month, year. Suppose let's take that my date of birth is 1988. Let me go to this one. 1988, November 26th. If I want to enter, then I will write November, and then I will write 26. Then you can see 26th November 1988 have been selected. Like this, you can use the date to take the date value from the user. Similarly, user can enter the email, right? So to create an email, we need to use the type as email. Okay, so do that one. Let me write email address. and then I will write input type is equal to email, and let me close this one. See, if you does not close it also, it is working, but it is a good practice to follow the syntax properly. Similarly, I will use this break tags. Open the BR and close it. Let me save it and let me go to the browser and let me refresh it. Email address. Let me enter my email address. Jagadish, okay, 2456 @gmail.com. Please don't trust this email address. This is not the correct email address. Just I'm entering some information for you. So like this, you can take the email address from the user by taking the type as email. And for this one also, if you want to give a name, you can do it. Okay, name is equal to, you can write as email. Okay, similarly here, name as some DOB. Okay, here also you can take the value. If I take the value as email address, then see what will happen. Let me save this one, go to the browser and let me refresh it. Now whatever the value you have entered has been considered as an initial value or a default value. If you want to enter some other value, then you can type on this box. So like this, we can take the email address from the user. Similarly, if you want to take the picture or files from the user, then you can use the type as file. And here I will write br close tag, and again let me close the br close tag, so it is a break tag. Okay, upload your picture. Okay, then I will write input type is equal to file, and then I will close this one. Let me save this one, go to the browser and let me refresh it. Then you can see upload your picture, and it is giving the button called browse. Let me click on the browse. Let me take some image. Let me take par.jpg file. Now you can see par.jpg means which file you have selected, that also it is giving the name of it. Okay, suppose if you want to browse another picture, again click on this one and take the parnika.jpg. Now you can see that it has taken the parnika.jpg as an input, so that's why the file name has been displayed here. Like that, you can take in picture from the user or a particular file from the user. Let's see, if I'm clicking on bst deletion, then also it is considering. Okay, bst deletion dot doc file, it is a doc file. So any file if you want to take from the user, then you can use the type as file. Similarly, we need to enter the text area, right? Let's take that I want to write about myself. Then a single line text box will not be sufficient to write about myself, right? I need a large size of text box. So that one we will call it as a text area. To do it, let me go to this notepad++ and let me provide the break tag, and let me write here about yourself, and then I will write text area, open and close the text area. Now see how it looks. Let me save this one, go to the browser and let me refresh it. Now about yourself, it is giving small information for you. So let me write Parnika tutorials YouTube channel, okay, is providing all CSC courses for free of cost. Something I'm writing, but enter content is not displayed, right? Suppose let's say that you want to specify the size, like number of rows and columns, that also you can use. Like I will use the attribute as rows to specify the number of rows, and similarly I can use an attribute called cols to specify the columns. Then it will create a text area of 10 rows and 10 columns. If you are entering more, then it will go the scroll bar. Now let me go to the browser and let me refresh it. Now you can see you have created a text area of 10 rows and 10 columns. It does not look good, right? Let me provide the columns as some 100. Then let me refresh it. Now you can see about yourself, the text area have been created such a way that you can enter 10 rows and 100 columns. Let me write A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. So after you are entering 10 rows, the scroll bar have been displayed. If you want to go up, you can up the scroll bar. If you want to go down, you can go to the scroll bar down. Okay, so like this you can create a text area. In this video, I have discussed about the forms, only few elements like text, password, radio buttons, checkbox, date of birth, email, and similarly upload your picture, which is a file, a text area, all these things. Few more things are there, like how to create a button to click on this button so that you can send the data to the server URL. All these things we will discuss in the next video. If you still have any doubts related to this concept, feel free to ask me in the comment section. I will try to clear your doubts as early as possible. Thank you for watching the complete video. Have a nice day.